What's something you can't tell your parents? That I have major financial issues and I'm worried about the next month's rent. It would stress them out and I don't want that to happen. I know where you're coming from. I have a massive amount of credit card debt because of bad spending habits mixed with covered in depression, as well as several medical bills. I can't tell my parents because they make enough to be able to help me, but I would feel like I failed at being an adult if I didn't deal with it myself. I would just like to say we all need a helping hand sometime. The answer's always no, until we suck up a little bit of pride and ask, good luck to you guys, keep your heads up, have safe holidays. I used to nick mom's pot when I was in high school. I'm sure if I told her she'd laugh, but my stepfather got the blame at the time. Are you smoking before work? The stash is getting kind of light, and that man has a long memory. Of course he has a long memory. He didn't have nearly enough pot. My girlfriend and I won't be having a wedding. Sure, we'll be going to the Justice of the Peace and having a small reception. But my mom doesn't understand the concept of not having a wedding. I absolutely cannot tell her flat out no. You're not going to be getting a wedding out of your only child. Make use of the current times. Quarantine is the perfect excuse not to have a bashing wedding party. Smart move. I can't tell my parents how difficult they have made my life by neglecting me emotionally as a child. It used to be a bit of a meme that daddy never hugged me. Well, like that. But to such an extreme degree that it actually qualifies as damaging. Ditto. Dad thought working as much as possible made a good dad, like his dad did to him. Now that I'm 23 and distant, because I moved away from work, he tells me he regrets not taking more time off and doing more things with us. He's a good guy, and he meant well, he just didn't know any better, I guess. He does now though, and I don't have the heart to tell him that my emotionally distant mother and him never being around basically stunted being able to feel emotions correctly. But I won't tell him that, since he is trying the best he can. As an alternative, maybe you could get him to open up about his feelings towards his father. It's very cyclical. As you said, sometimes breakthroughs can happen when they can see their role as the child and how they've passed on things as a parent. He has opened up about his dad. Sorry I cold being specific, but the reason I know he did what his dad did was because we have had a long talk about it. He's self-aware of the issue, and it was nice to talk about it. I just don't have the heart to hurt him by letting him know he caused issues for me. It's one of those things he's bettered himself about. It's just hard that he realized when I was about 21 and no longer at home spelling. My unstable mental health. I don't think they'd understand. I didn't think my mum would understand either. Funny thing was, she was the one to seek professional help first. It was the best thing she ever did with her life. We now talk every week, both her and I. I hope you get the opportunity to talk to them soon. Friend. My mum opened up about her recent sessions. And slowly I started to talk to her about my on-off sessions over the past decade. It really feels like we connect at a more meaningful level than we ever did when I was growing up. Ever since I could remember, I've been extremely depressed. As I was younger, I made a promise to myself, if my life didn't get better by the time I'm 23, I would end it. Right now, minus the covered life, pretty alright, and since I didn't plan to make it this far, I'm not sure where I want to end up, but it's okay. I'm going the right way. Edit. Thanks for the concern from y'all, but things have been a lot better since I made that promise to myself. I ain't gonna go into detail. I'm not as busted physically as I was then, and the mental has gotten better. For those who are struggling, I don't know why you made your promise, but don't follow through. I can understand why it seems like the best choice, but it ain't. It can be hard, but ask for help. No one is Superman and you don't have to struggle alone. I'm glad that you're still here to whatever extent a stranger on the internet with a similar past can offer. That I'm not mad at them, and I love them despite not talking to them for 10 years. Send them a Christmas card with exactly that statement. Written communication delivered through mail is ideal for maintaining boundaries while sharing observations and feelings. Showing up on the other person's doorstep or placing a phone call is shocking to the recipient, and even email has urgency versus snail mail. I have brokered reunions between estranged relatives and always caution to focus on initial messages that are emotionally neutral, which just lay out undisputed items such as, folks, I wanted to let you know I think about you during certain moments as I journey through life. I'm well. Hope you are as too. If want to catch up on things, feel free to write me. That the guy they tried and failed to get away from me in a party sexually assaulted me while I was blackout drunk. I'm so sorry to hear that. Similarly, I could never bring myself to tell either of my parents that I was sexually assaulted when I started university. It would crush them. Even if it was over 10 years ago now. The different reactions from parents is insane. My so had similar experiences with family members while she was younger, and upon telling her parents they simply made the man move out. Then continued to invite him back to their house every weekend and for parties. I know that she's $500,000 in debt and does meth. That's rough, buddy. Shit happens. I just hope she changes before I get to the point where I will tell her that I know. Honestly, man. Best wishes. Thank you. Best wishes to you with whatever you're going through. Everything as they are both dead. Mind you, I'm 65. Does coping with the loss of them ever get better? Easier? Sorry if I'm overstepping. I was 18 when I lost my mom. Almost 29 now. It gets way easier as the years go by, but every now and then I get a memory or think about how they'll never meet my daughter and it feels like a stab to the heart. Edit. Thank you for my first award. Go hug your parents and tell them you love them. Edit 2. Holy crap guys, thanks for the awards. I think this is my highest rated comment. Please take care of yourselves, and no matter how much it hurts without your loved one or ones, keep going and live your life the way you want to. Comments like these make want to show more love to my parents and give them a hug. Wish you the best. Thanks dude. Please tell your parents how you feel about them. Cancer took my mom. She used cancer as a suicide tactic really. When she found out my piece of shit dad was cheating on her, she knew she had cancer for 2 years. Hid it from all of us. And when she could no longer hide it, it was too late and she died 6 weeks later, I think it was. I don't really have any desire or goals to do anything. The only reason I'm even in school is to put off having to work for the rest of my life because I don't think I can do it. Hey, I felt similar. More appropriately, I thought about going back after I graduated because of the few jobs I had. None felt sustainable. For every month of work I did, I felt like I needed a week of vacation. I'm doing far better now. And really it came down to figuring out what I really enjoyed personally. I always played video games for all of my spare time. I still love video games, but often it was just to fill the time. I found a few activities I like doing, and I found a job that is more doing what I love. School is great if it gets you where you need to be, and I was lucky enough to have that happen despite now having a career only barely related to my degree. But figure out what you actually want to do, because if holding a job for your degree seems impossible, find the degree that it won't be impossible for, even if it pays a little less. How did you determine what you'd enjoy doing for a job? I need to make a move from my current employer, but I don't know what to get into. I pretty much found out I was doing my existing job in the hobbies I already had. I was putting in 20 to 40 hours/month, depending on the month, into it as a hobby. I began looking into it as a job, and was fortunate enough to get the job I have now. If you can't relate a job to your hobbies, figure out what gives you satisfaction. I gather enjoyment from helping others, so being a programmer didn't do me much good, but being a community manager is right up my alley. To build on your advice again, ask people what they do all day at their jobs and what motivates them to continue. Ask everyone you can find. Cold contact people in jobs you think you might like. Schedule really awkward meetings with strangers. I'm super outgoing and the process still kind of sucks, but it is so effective at finding the weird little niche that will be right for you. That I don't see a future for myself. They deserve better than to think they failed me, but I'm beginning to suspect they already think that. I felt similar in my mid-20s, working dead-end jobs to make ends meet, and figured my parents would feel like it was somehow their fault that I wasted the opportunities they gave me. Things can turn around in the blink of an eye. 10 years on, and I never thought I would be where I am, financially or otherwise. Things may not look bright now, but you never know what the future holds, and I'm sure your parents are proud regardless. Shit, I think I needed to hear these words. This happened to me too. My 20s were a wreck. I was blind to it. My ego was exploded. Was only thinking of myself and suffering for it. Fast forward 6 to 10 years. 20-year-old me would never have thought I would change/improve/progress to where I'm now. The boomer/X romanticism of wife plus HOUSE plus KIDS as soon as possible really gave me an incorrectly projected life timeline. This is a different, much more complicated world than the relatively recent world our value systems came from. Thanks, I needed this. The old timeline seems way too out of whack for me. I can't see myself getting married anytime soon, and I still don't know if maybe I want to change disciplines and study something else. That I was molested as a child by a stranger in kindergarten. I always feel like I don't want my parents to think they failed me cause they did a great job parenting. I've never told anyone, and this is the first time writing it into words. Edit. Thank you to everyone who shared their stories and left kind words. It truly means a lot and is beautiful to see. This hits close to home. I had this once when I was a child, but only told that he was a strange guy. My parents are amazing, but I would be heartbroken if they knew, and maybe they would think they failed. Good luck to you, and may everything be well. Same. I can't tell my mom that some of my first memories are of me getting molested by our upstairs neighbor. I'll never tell her. I can handle my shit. I just don't want her getting hurt too. This makes me feel better I'm not the only one. It also makes me sad. I'm sorry. That most of the time, when I'm joking about something I was serious, but when I saw how you reacted I took it back and said just kidding. Yes, I really want to raise livestock. Yes, I said llama and alpacas. Also, I was serious about the yarn thing too. Edit. I just want you guys to know that this actually motivated me to ask my parents why it was so crazy for me to have this dream. Also kinda ashamed I had to google what cottagecore was. I really am a 60-year-old in a 20-something body. You call it cottagecore, I call it summer at grandma's. No really though, I was dressed more like Huckleberry Finn and less Laura Ingalls, but same thing. Back in high school I wasn't as good as they thought I was. I just never got caught doing the bad shit that I did. I'm the opposite. My parents always suspected I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing, but they were wrong almost every time. They still found ways to get me in trouble, even though I didn't do what they were accusing me of doing. This was me too. Or if I did do something bad it was blown way out of proportion. All while my younger sibling did way worse stuff and my mom didn't give a damn. I'm still salty about it, and I haven't lived with them in over a decade. Same, and nearly 3 decades here. How scared I'm to have brain surgery in a few months, and how angry I'm this has happened to me. I know how stressed and worried they are already, and I don't want to add to it. I personally know how terrifying it can be, had a tumor removed plus cranioplasty, but honestly there is a light at the end of the tunnel. The physical pain is minimal to non-existent. Afterwards you'll be back stronger. A word of caution. Despite family and friends all showing great support and doing their best to understand, getting in contact with tumor charities and other brain organizations I found to be a godsend. Other people sharing their experiences and offering advice having been through the same thing was vital. Good luck with the surgery. If you have any questions or need some advice give me a shout. Thank you so much. I've got a rare type of tumor, which is thankfully benign and not actually causing any issues at the moment. They sort of found the tumor by accident doing a scan looking for blood clots, which they found. Surgery for the tumor won't be for a few more months because of being on blood thinners. I know my situation could be so much worse, and I'm so thankful to be in a country with free healthcare. It just came at such a bad time for me. I'm only 19 and was just trying to start a career and saving for a house with my boyfriend, and now everything has to be put on hold for this. It sounds selfish, but I'm just so angry about all my plans that this has stuffed up. My biggest hurdle after surgery was that my memory pre-surgery was impacted. I still remembered my parents and those closest to me, but formative years, high school etc. were all fuzzy and unclear. You're incredibly lucky you've got a few months to plan how you want to recover post-surgery. If I had the chance I would make a diary to recall some of the key memories I've had up until now. Plus I would note some of the things I would do regularly as my daily routine. If I had the option I would have left as much information about how I was before surgery, so I had a template to come back to after surgery. I know you're frustrated this happened to you so young. I was 2 years older than you, and it does alter your life path in a big way. But search for what matters most to you, and remember that when the dark days hit. For me it made me more religious, and I began to believe God tests those who he loves most, and this helped massively when I felt low. Biggest advice, I know I've said this a lot, but it's our key lol, I can give you is to test yourself post surgery. Surgery left me feeling weak and defeated mentally, and I kept making excuses for myself with regards to going back to university or pushing on in life by saying I can't process like other people or not as smart, etc. Challenge yourself if you can, by reading or doing engaging cognitive skills like perhaps learning a language if possible. Because the time you will be off work/school will be a few months when recovering, so engage with your mind as much as you can, it will help you greatly. I became a couch potato and that was the worst thing I could do. I also had a benign tumor, but it was diagnosed when I collapsed in a takeaway place and they operated within 2 days, so everything happened immediately and there was no time to process. Sorry for rambling about my odyssey. If you need any other advice or have questions, let me know. Stay strong, little one. PS, if you're in the UK, get in contact with Headway. They can put you at ease before surgery and ease your recovery. They're a brain charity, plus mindfulness is also a decent one, I think. This was really helpful. Where my tumor is, memory isn't a huge risk. My tumor sits right above my pituitary gland, so biggest risk for me is hormone production in my vision. I'll definitely take your advice about keeping my mind active. I don't study, so biggest thing for me is going to be getting back to work and trying to pick my career back up and hoping this doesn't set me back too much. It's honestly so nice talking to someone who's been through similar. Honestly, as great and supportive as family and friends are, they just don't quite get it in the same way as someone who's been there does. I kick the fallen ice under the fridge. Edit. Thanks for the metal. I'm glad to see I'm not the only one. Don't worry about it. By the next day it's already water under the fridge. Won't ever tell my dad that he is a burden. It would probably result in him taking his own life. I was granted legal guardianship of him when I was in my early 20s when my mom and sister split from the picture. It's a young age to take something like that on. No one your age understands. Little to no resources to know what you're supposed to do next. It's been a very difficult run. He is finally in a safe place, but it's still a lot to do, taking care of all his financials, on top of trying to live my own life. The rest of our family believes he should have just been abandoned, but I could never have done that, despite the awful things he has done. It isn't who I am. Edit to add, I was having a knee-jerk kinda comment, and didn't expect my passing comment to garner as much attention. I took out some specific details that may identify me. It's heartwarming to know that I'm not alone. And to those who have any kind psychiatric, cognitive or physical disorder, please know that it does not make you automatically a burden to those who love you. There is so much more to my father's story that has led to this point. It can be hard to love someone, but that doesn't mean that I will give up. Can I prematurely give you some advice? I hope it's not too morbid. When he passes away, there is a good chance you will feel some relief in with the grief. Don't beat yourself up for that. It happened to me, and for a long time I felt incredibly guilty to even entertain such a feeling. What a heartless prick I must be. Don't accept that. However much you love someone, caring for them is a weight to bear, and it's natural to feel relief when that weight is removed, even if you bore it gladly. This happened to someone I was very close with. She cared for both her parents to some degree between the ages of 7 to 19. I felt for her so much, but she was drowning in that pressure and worry and guilt. I said it was okay to feel some peace amongst the guilt and grief when her mum passed. 6 years after her dad. It was half her childhood and all of her teens years. Too much for most adults to deal with. Never mind a young girl. That's why I wanted to post something. We are harsh critics of ourselves, so sometimes you need an external voice to reassure you that you're perfectly entitled to those feelings. If you know someone going through this, it's good to be that comforting external voice, especially as they will often feel too guilty to even admit it. If you are new to Tattletale TV, Please subscribe. We have new videos every day. Stay tuned for more coming up next.